All right, well, good evening. My name is Raquel Ramirez, and I'm with dualenroll.com, and we are going to go through the Cascadia College dualenroll.com system as kind of a refresher for how students initiate registration for classes through Cascadia College by using the dualenroll.com system. And most of you who will be participating in the training have used the system before, seen it before. I think there's only a few new instructors or a new school that's coming on board, so this might be brand new for you, but most of you guys are veterans. And what I'm happy to report is that we have actually reconfigured the system to make it even more useful and easy and user-friendly for you guys. If you'll recall last year, our system was really set up to have counselors approve students. And so those of you who were instructors approving your students, you essentially got a counselor login. And when you logged in, you wouldn't just see your students, the ones who were picking your class, like let's say I'm a history teacher. I would see all the students, even the students who chose an English class or a math class or a Japanese class. And so it was a little difficult to just kind of whittle that list down to your specific students, the ones that were in, let's say, your history class, if you were a history teacher. And so we recognized that that wasn't the best way to do it. We did have some filters where you could sort by course, etc. But we have since changed the program or configured the program to be able to handle instructor as the approver, not counselor as the approver. So that's exactly what we did for Cascadia system. We moved them to that new kind of platform that allows us to do instructor as the approver. And so this year, when you log in as the instructor, you truly will only see your students and the classes that are your classes. So even if student Sally takes a history, a math, and an English, if you are the history teacher and you log in, you will only see Sally's history request. You will not see her other requests. So we think that that's pretty freaking awesome, and hopefully will make things a little bit smoother moving forward. The one thing to say about that is the accounts that you had last year, those counselor accounts, we have removed them because we don't want you to be a counselor. We want you to stick with being the instructor, and we have made it so you as an instructor can approve courses. So all of you, probably starting tomorrow, we'll get an email from the system. It will be an automated email. It'll be like no reply at dualenroll.com that invites you to create your account. And this is you creating your instructor account. You can use the same login name that you had last year and the same password because we essentially deleted those counselor accounts that used to be yours. So you can get yourself the same username and the same password, but that account will now be an instructor account that will allow you to approve students that choose your specific class. So any class that you are linked to, those approvals will come to you. And I will show that on the training here in just a minute. I'll show you what it looks like to get that email and then the steps that you do to go ahead and create your brand new instructor account, which, as I said, you are certainly able to make it the same login name and the same password as last year. So that's kind of the big change, if you will, is that there's no more sorting. You will truly be able to log in and simply see your students and handle the approvals for the classes that are relevant to you and not see everything else, not have to worry about filters. The rest of the process has remained largely the same. So the student is the one who initiates the registration process, and they do that by going to the correct website and either creating an account or logging into their existing account. So the correct website is cascadia.app.dualenroll.com. And you don't have to memorize that. We actually have some user guides that we'll be handing out, and it will have that website along the top. The website that I am on today, if you can see my screen, is not the live site. It looks very close, but it's not the live site. It is cascadia.stage.dualenroll.com. That's our test site. So I can create a fake student like Angelina Jolie and not actually enroll her at Cascadia College. So this is not the website your kids are going to go to. The website that you and your students will be going to is cascadia.app.dualenroll.com. And again, that will be on some resources that we give you. But the students have to go to that correct URL. And as I said, they will either log in with an existing account from last year, or they will create a brand new one if they've never used dualenroll.com before to register. If a student is an existing one, they're returning. They did this last year, right? But they don't remember their login information, which sometimes happens. I'm just going to draw your attention down here to the bottom, and there is a link down here underneath the login button that says forgot your username or password. And if the student clicks on that, we will send the reset information to them. Now, they do need to know either the cell phone or the original email address that they gave us. That's the only way the reset works. So if they used a Gmail email address last year and they try to reset the account with a Yahoo email address, we're going to say that's not the right email. We don't know that email. So that's the only potential trouble, is if they have to remember either a cell phone or an email that they originally gave us last year, and then we can help them reset their account. If that doesn't work for them, there is always the help desk. And so there's this big red help desk button up in the top. It is ever present. It is there for students, for instructors, for parents. It's there for everybody. And there's a way to enter a help desk ticket that says, I can't access my account. You know, can you help me reset it? And we're able to do it that way too. And I will show you how to use the help desk again towards the end of the training session. The only other item down here that I want to highlight before we jump into a walkthrough with the student here is this need to enter your text confirmation code link. So when a brand new student creates an account for the first time, they not only have to create the account, but they have to activate it or like confirm that account. And the way they do that is either through a text message code that we have sent them, or an email that has a confirmation link if they gave us their email. So it does depend on their preferred method of contact. They can give us an email address or they can give us a cell phone. But depending on which one they give us, they will definitely get a way to confirm or activate their account. If they do not confirm or activate their account will not work. I don't care how many times they try to put in their username and password. So they have to confirm their accounts. This link is for those people who gave us a cell phone. It says, do you need to enter your text confirmation code? If they click that, they would go ahead and enter in the cell phone that they gave us, and then the code that we just sent them in a text message, their confirmation code. For the sake of the demonstration today, I'm actually going to do an email as a way to confirm my account, simply because I can show that on the screen. I can't really show you my cell phone. But just wanted to let you know what those two links down at the bottom of the login screen are used for, and kind of highlight the help desk. So if the student is a returning student and they know their login and password, they'll simply go ahead and enter in their login name or username and password and click login. If they are not, they're going to have to click here to create one. It says, please log in. If you need a login, click here to create one. Couple other things about the site. It is browser agnostic. So what I mean by that is if you can get to the internet, you can get to the website. So I don't care if you're using Firefox or Google Chrome or Safari or Internet Explorer, as long as you can access the internet, you can get to the website. The same is true of devices. So you can use a smartphone, a tablet, an iPad, a desktop, a laptop, as long as you can get to the internet. So we'll just put that out there too. I'm going to go ahead and pretend that our student is a brand new student. They have never used dualenroll.com to register for classes before. And so we're going to go ahead and click here to create one. And the first screen that the student sees is the account creation screen. And this is pretty standard. If a student has created an account on just about anything, a Yahoo account, an iTunes account, they have to start by giving us some basic information, usually like an age and their name, etc. So anything that's marked with a red asterisk is going to be a required field, and the student's going to go through and fill in that information. The first step is for them to go ahead and click on the school that they belong to. So for the demonstration, I'll go with Woodinville. The list of schools that are on that drop-down comes straight from Cascadia. So Cascadia tells us which schools they are working with this year that need to be in that drop-down menu, and that's how that list gets generated. We're going to pretend that our student's name is Cass Elliott, and they get to pick their own login. So Cass Elliott's going to use her name, pick their own password, first name, last name, date of birth. It helps if they choose the year of their birth first. And then here's where they give us either an email or a cell phone. It says your preferred method of contact, please provide one. I'm going to go with an email. You'll notice that the red asterisk is really on cell phone, but if I click this, I prefer not to give you my cell phone, the red asterisk moves up here to the email. Most students use their cell phones. They prefer that to email. They like text messages, but the student does have the option to do either. They can also do both. And then the last thing is to go ahead and check the I am not a robot box and click register. I'm getting just a little bit of an echoey feedback, not very strong, so I'm actually going to mute the people who are on the line with me. And what I will do is I will pause at certain times and ask for questions, and then obviously you can enter questions into the chat box as well, just to make sure that it's a good, clear and crisp audio recording for those people who will be listening to it. Okay, so our test student, Cass Elliott, filled out all the required information to create her account, right? She hasn't actually registered for a course. She hasn't even looked at courses yet. All she's doing is picking or creating her dualenroll.com account. And the message she sees is, you have signed up successfully. Please check your email for the instructions to confirm your account. So she has to confirm her account. A couple of things about using email that we've learned along the way. Make sure students and parents check their junk or spam folders, because again, these emails are auto-generated emails, right? So they're coming from support@dualenroll.com or no reply@dualenroll.com. They're not actually coming from Raquel, right? So sometimes those emails at first will wind up in a junk or a spam folder. So have them check there first, don't panic. And if they find it there, just mark it as not junk, and it should be fine moving forward. The other thing to realize with emails is if a student is using a high school issued email. Maybe every high school maybe issues their kids their own email address. So casselliott@woodinville.org. Talk to your IT department and make sure that the firewall isn't so amazing that it blocks all the dualenroll.com emails from coming through. Your IT department should know that you are working with dualenroll.com and that any email from @dualenroll.com needs to be allowed to come through, right? Because that could wreak some havoc if the school firewall is kind of blocking all of those from coming through. So just a couple of things to remember. If for whatever reason the student does not get the confirmation email, maybe they were typing too fast and they screwed up the email address that they put in, or maybe they were typing in their cell phone and they messed that up too. So if they cannot confirm their account, we would encourage them to enter in a help desk ticket, not to create a second one, right? We really want them to just have one account with all of their information on there. The help desk tickets were pretty good about turning them around in 24 hours, a business day, not always on a Saturday or a Sunday, but definitely one business day we're pretty good about getting that done. And usually it's much, much quicker than that, like within 10 minutes. We have quite a few people working on the help desk, so we can get those done quickly. But we would rather that the student say, I need help confirming my account, rather than making a second one. For our work, for our demo person, Cass Elliott, we're going to pretend that she had no problems. You know, she entered in her email. I'm going to bounce over to my inbox here, and you'll see that here's that email, no reply @dualenroll.com. Please activate your account. So Cass didn't have any problems getting the email. It says, welcome, Cass. Please confirm your account by clicking on the link below. That's exactly what she's going to do. And when the student does that, it automatically opens up and logs them into their account. So she is logged into her dualenroll.com account. You can see her name is right up here by the logout and the help desk and all that stuff. It's way up at the top. So Cass has confirmed her account and she is logged in. The things that the student is going to see next are what we call the pre-registration steps. We call them pre-registrations because that's exactly what they do, right? They're happening prior to registering. They must be completed prior to looking at classes. So you'll see that there are 4 steps along the top, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1 is highlighted. That's the step that we're on right now. And the student will go through and fill these out by filling in any of the fields that have that red asterisk, meaning it's a required field, and clicking on the next button in the bottom, or at the bottom of the screen. These pre-registration screens are a one and done, meaning the only reason our test student Cass is getting these is because she's a brand new student with a brand new account. As soon as she completes these steps, we will not ask her for this information again. So if Cass logs in tomorrow, next week, next year, she won't see these pre-registration steps. We are really only collecting this information up front because it's a brand new account. You'll also notice that the student has 3 tabs along the top. They got a profile tab, a courses tab, and a status tab. And we are going to look at those in just a minute as soon as we get Cass through these pre-registration steps. And finally, we have already rolled over any information that the students already gave us. So they gave us their name, they gave us their birth date, they gave us their email address. And so you'll see that all that information is already here on the first pre-registration step. So all the student has to do is go on in and add their address. We'll do some test stuff. And then I'm just looking for the things that are red asterisks, right? So none of this is required, but way down here, something is required, right? So I'm going to say I would like to transfer to a 4-year college, click next. Step 2 for the student is to agree to the Cascadia College terms, their conditions, the expectations for participating in their particular program. And so there is some information on here about that. The student will have to click on this I have read and agree with these terms and conditions box before they can move forward. If they don't and they try to click next without checking this little box, you'll get a red error message that comes up and it says, whoa, whoa, you cannot move forward unless you agree to the terms in the agreements. And that's the message that will pop up whenever they try to move forward without completing something that's required, a required field, if you will. So we'll pretend that Cass read all of these things through very meticulously and says, yes, I agree to this, and clicks on next. The third step of pre-reg for a student, a brand new student, is going to go ahead, is going to be for them to give us contact information for their parent. So we do contact the parent for permission or consent to participate in the program at Cascadia. And then we do kind of keep the parent aware of what's going on throughout the process. So we might send the parent an email like, wanted to let you know that your student has started the registration process for a calculus class at Woodinville. We'll be contacting you soon for your permission and for payment, right? Parents are also able to pay for the courses through the dualenroll.com website. So that's why we need to have some contact information for the parent. So we'll go ahead and enter in our parent's name and a parent's email address. And we will click next. The last step of the pre-reg process for the students is just to read some information about the FERPA disclosure. There is, again, a link that would bring them to the Cascadia College Academic Handbook so they can go ahead and kind of read the full spiel about that. But it's just making sure that they are aware of the FERPA disclosure and FERPA release information, and then you will click Finish. So those are the pre-registration steps for the student. As soon as Cass, our test student, has finished all of those, she is brought to her Courses tab. So you'll see the tab that says Courses is the one that we're on right now. And she will see a list of courses that are open to her. So again, this list is restricted. It will only show the student the courses that are open to the students at that high school. So Cass said she was a Woodinville High School student. So if Woodinville High School students only get to see a Global Studies class and a couple of Calc classes, that's it. That's all she's seeing. She won't see Japanese, she won't see Spanish, because those aren't open or available to Woodinville students. So it is restricted based on the high school that the student attends. And again, we get that information directly from Cascadia. Cascadia is the one who kind of enters in the courses and identifies which high schools should have access to which. The course finder, which is what we call the courses tab, has some filters along the left. And these are very, very useful if your list of options was like 5 pages long, because it would help you sort it. You could sort it by location, you could sort it by keyword like English or poetry. But in the case of most of our partners, our colleges that we work with, the list of classes that high school students have to choose from is a manageable list. It's not 5 pages long, right? It's like 3 to 6 to maybe 10 classes that they can choose from. So this list is manageable. I don't think the students will wind up using any of the filters, but they are there. If Cass wants to indicate that she wishes to register for one of these classes, she simply clicks on the title. You'll see the title of the class is like a hyperlink that you can click on. So let's pretend she's interested in this Global Studies course, so I'll go ahead and click on it. She will see the details for that course, right? So it's Introduction to Global Studies, GS 101, it's a 5 credit, and here's a little description. And again, all of this information comes directly from Cascadia College. We just display the information. And then down here, she'll see the actual like section that she has available to her. So it looks like the section at Woodinville is taught by Dawn Netzel, and that's the class that she has the ability to register for. She would do that by clicking on the register button. There is a Save Course button at the very bottom. We're actually thinking about removing that for next year. Again, the Save Course button is really helpful when a student has 5 pages of classes to sort through. They could save 8 or 9 of them that they're interested in and talk to their instructor or their counselor or their parents, and then choose the 1 or 2 of them to actually move forward with and register. But Save Course is not as helpful when your list is manageable, and sometimes people click on that thinking that they are registering for a course. Saving a course is simply saving it. It's like putting it in your shopping cart but never actually checking out, right? So to actually register for a course, the students need to click the Register button, which is right next to that section. So we'll pretend that, again, Cass, our test student, was an excellent listener, and she clicks on the Register button for this Global Studies course. She is then brought to her status page. So we are right here on the status tab. and it showed her that the class had been added. So you'll see GS 101 Introduction to Global Studies. It shows up under her dual enrollment courses. She can see the teacher, she can see the semester, and then she can also see what has to happen next. So she is not registered. You'll see that it says the registration is pending, right? It's not done, it's pending. And why? Well, we need the high school's permission, the instructor, and we also need payment. Your parents have to give their permission and payment. And the next step, the one that's up next right now, is for the instructor, so for Miss Netzel, to go ahead and approve this particular choice by the student. So the great thing about the status page for students is that they can check their registration, like what's going on with my registration at any time. It is live data. So they could log in tomorrow and see what's going on with their registration. Maybe by that time, the instructor will have done the approval, and so it'll simply say the parent is the one who has to do something. So live data letting them know what's going on with their course registration. If the student would like to add another course, it's as simple as clicking on the courses tab and selecting their next one, kind of repeating the process. So let's pretend Cass would also like Calc 1. So she clicks on the title. Again, there's a big description. It looks like there are 2 sections available to her. There are one with Miss Gruber, one with Merritt. So 2 different instructors. She'll pick the one that her teacher. So we'll click register for that one. And then she's back to her status page. Calculus was added, and you can see it down here on her list. She's got the 2 classes that she's interested in taking. The only other tab that we haven't looked at really is the profile tab. This is where all of the information that Cass gave us is stored, right? So she gave us her address and her email address and her birth date. And so all of that information is just kind of stored here on her profile. But the 2 places that the student is going to spend the majority of their time is going to be on the courses tab, selecting courses, and on the status tab, kind of checking out what's going on with her registration. Once the registration is done, meaning she has been enrolled at Cascadia College, the student will get a text message or an email from us that says, congratulations, you have been enrolled in Introduction to Global Studies through Cascadia College. And when she logs into this status screen, there will be nothing over here under next steps except for one word. It'll say complete. There are no next steps. Your registration is complete. And so that's kind of what the student is looking for as they're keeping an eye on their registration. So I'm going to pause right here. I'm actually going to unmute all of my attendees to see if anybody has a question about the student part or the student piece of the registration process.
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Thank you. All right, well, then I'm going to mute everybody again, just so we have a good, clear, crisp recording. So that is the students piece, right? Just to kind of summarize, they're going to go to the correct website, Cascadia.app.dualenroll.com. They're going to either log in with their account from last year, or they're going to create a brand new account. If they create a brand new account, they have to confirm and activate it. They have to do those pre-registration screens that are only going to show up on the first time they're in their account, and then they get to choose their courses. If they were a returning student, they would just simply log in, and they would see the courses right away, right? They wouldn't even have to do any pre-registration or anything like that. So those are the student steps. Again, we'll talk about the help desk towards the end, because if a student has questions or gets into trouble or just is not sure what to do, they can always enter a help desk ticket. So I'm going to log out as Cass Elliott, our test student, and I'm going to actually bounce over back to my inbox, my little test inbox. Give me a second. And you'll see that some emails have gone out, right? So here was the please activate your new account email down here. Here was an email that says, woohoo, you've activated your account, good job. And then here are some action required emails. So if I were to look at that, this is the email that the teacher gets. So remember, the Global Studies was taught by Dawn, I think Netzel, N-E-T-Z-E-L. So Dawn gets an email that says, hey, one of your students is trying to take your class. You have got to approve her enrollment. Click here to do that. And then the other teacher, whoops, I always do that. Like I sign out when I shouldn't be signing out. Hang on. I'm so used to using the back arrow and it just logs me out instead of bringing me back to my inbox. All right, try that again. So Dawn got one of those emails, and then if I were to click on this other action required, Ernie, Ernie Merritt was the other teacher. That was the calculus teacher, right? So the calculus teacher also gets an email that says, hey, Cass has signed up to take your class and you need to do the approval. The instructors can absolutely use this little link to log in, but they don't need the link. I mean, if you just have the website bookmarked, that's exactly what this link is going to do. It's going to bring you to the Cascadia website and ask you to log in. So I will log in as Dawn. She knows her login, so she didn't, she's going to log in. She's already created her account. She's going to log in, and she has a few more tabs up here than the student does, right? So it says Dawn. She's the one who's logged in. She's on her status screen, which basically says the course that she teaches is this Global Studies course. And then she has a Students tab, right? That's where she's going to spend the majority of her time. So on the Students tab is where she sees all of the students that are interested in taking her course. So Cass Elliott, here she is. This is the one that she was interested in taking the course. But remember, Cass also added a calculus class. And do you see a calculus class on here? You do not, right? That is because Dawn is logged in. Dawn is only going to see the classes that are Global Studies classes, that are her classes. And so that's one of the fixes that we made this time, is that instructors will truly only see the courses that are theirs. So you'll notice that all of these students are waiting for Dawn to approve them. So instructor approve enrollment, instructor approve enrollment, et cetera, et cetera. Just as before, you've got some filters up here to use. So we're talking about fall classes, so it already has a default of a fall term. You could search for somebody. So if your list of students is quite lengthy and, Cass is standing in front of you saying, please help me, you can just type in Cass's name, her first name, her last name, and it will sort them for you and just pull up the student that you're trying to look at. And just as before, you can complete your step, the one step that you have, which is to approve their enrollment, approve their choice, that it's okay for Cass to take your class, by just clicking on this blue hyperlink. It is highlighted in yellow because it is your responsibility. These things down here that are not highlighted in yellow, they're just kind of letting you know what's going on. So like in Kathy's case, Kathy Casa, she does not require you to do anything. Right now we are waiting for the college to do something. The college has to review all the information that we've collected for Kathy. So it's not bright yellow because it's not your step. And you can't click on it. I'm clicking and clicking and clicking and nothing is happening. Because again, it's not your step, but you can still see what's going on with your student's request. Same thing with Woodyville. He also wanted this Global Studies class. He's down here at the bottom. His step is not yellow because it's not yours. And he says complete, so he's good to go. He's already enrolled in that particular class. So the only things that you have to worry about are the tasks that are assigned to you. They will be bright yellow and they will be clickable, accessible, right? A hyperlink. So if you just wanted to work on our test student, Cass Elliott, if you just wanted to approve her course, all you'd have to do is simply click on her step, right? So here's Cass. I click on this step. I get to this screen that says Cass Elliott wants to take this class. How do you feel about that, right? Yes, no, or decide later. Are you approving her to take it or not? If you click yes, she will move forward, meaning we'll start to give some information to her parents and we'll give the information to the college. If you click no, the student will get a little text message that says, thank you for your interest. Unfortunately, your instructor has declined your request to enroll. And if you click on decide later, it would keep this particular student in your list of things to do, right? So that would still be there. It would still be bright yellow, meaning you're going to come back to it at another time. So if you want to complete a step for just one student, you can simply find the student and click on that particular step for them. We do have a way for you to batch process. So batch processing, just like last year, allows you to do a bunch of approvals at once, right? All of these kids at once. To do that, you just simply change this filter right here, this view by filter, from student to step. So the default is to show you a view by student. It gives you an alphabetical list of students. It actually gives you two alphabetical lists. The first alphabetical list near the top are all the kids who need your attention, meaning they are bright yellow. And then I start the alphabet over again, down at the bottom. And these are the kids that don't need your attention, right? They are on a step that is not your step, but you can still see them. You can kind of still see what's going on with their registration. If you were to change this to view by step, the same information is there, it just reorders it. So this is still bright yellow because this is your step. And now you see all the kids who are underneath that step. These are all the student and registrations who need you to do this. you can still see that Kathy is on college review forms and that Woody is complete. So the information is still there. Again, these are not yellow because they're not your steps. It just reorders them. To complete the step, again, you're going to click on it. So you're going to click on this little hyperlink that's bright yellow. And now I see a huge table. So I'm not just seeing Cass, I'm seeing all of the kids that are on that step. And this allows you to go down there a little bit more fast, right? So yes, no, no, yes, 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 no, all the way down the list. And it allows you to do the approvals in a set or a batch as opposed to one at a time. So for each of them, you do see the student's name, you see the course that they want, which is your course, and you can just simply go down and say yes, no, no, yes, yes, decide later. I am going to actually prefer to go back and do this just for Cass. I'm going to keep the rest of the test students in here. So I'm just going to kind of exit out, go back to my student list, go back to view by students, and I'm just going to do it for Mama Cass from Mamas and Papas, Cass Elliott. And I'm going to click yes. And then I'm going to click complete step. And so now when I go back to my student list, now that I've completed that step, you will see that Cass Elliott has moved from a yellow step to a non-yellow step, right? So we've already done our part for Cass Elliott. We've approved her choice. She is now on the parent provide consent and payment. The other thing to show you is that you as the instructor have access to changing the parent email or to resending it. So there are these cute little links right here that if the student is on the parent consent and payment step and the parent or the student is saying, I never got the email, you can change the email. So if you click on this link, you'll be able to enter in a new email address. So maybe we're just not sure if the email was entered correctly, or you gave me mom's email and now you want to try dad's email. You have the ability to do that. And then you also have the ability to click the resend button and resend that message out. Just as we tell the parent or the students, we also tell the parents, check your junk or your spam folder, because again, it could wind up in there. It is an auto-generated email. But you have the ability to do that as the teacher. The student also has the ability to do that. So I would tell the student to log in, to go to their status screen, and to click the change or the resend link. And again, if it doesn't work, or you're not sure it's working, or you're not sure what to do, that help desk button is also there for you. So here's the teacher, and the help desk button is right there for them. So I'm going to log out really quick as the teacher. I'm actually going to log in again as our test student, Cass Elliott, just so I can show you that her status screen has updated. So now if I look at Cass's status screen, the Global Studies class, you'll see that it says high school permission is complete because Dawn, that teacher, took care of that. For her calculus class, Mr. Merritt did not take care of it yet, right? So it's still on that instructor approved the student step. Her other one has moved on to parent provide consent. And as I told you, here's the resend button, here's the change button. So the students do have access to those same little links if they're having a problem with the parent consent. I'm going to log out real quick, and I'm going to unmute my attendees and pause right there to see if there are any questions about the instructor's part of the process.
No, I have no questions.
Perfect.
Clear.
All right, so I will mute you guys again. Hang on. So this is going to be a little different, like I said, just a teensy tiny bit different for those of you who used it last year and you did have a login as an instructor, but you were technically given a counselor role because, as I said, that interface wasn't as great, as user-friendly. You would actually see all kids, all students, and that's not what you wanted. We really wanted you to just see your kids. So that's what this the new registration cycle has allowed us to do. I'm also going to log in as Ernie Merritt, the calculus teacher, just to show you that he will also see Cass Elliott. So I'm logged in as Ernie, not as Dawn this time. You'll see where it says his courses. He's got a math calculus course. It goes over here to the students tab. Here are his students, and you will see Cass Elliott is listed, but it's just her math class, right? He's not seeing her global studies class. And the same is true for Ernie as it was to Dawn, the two instructors. You can click on these one at a time. You can change the view to view by step if you would like to do it in a batch instead. You've got a search bar. You can change the term, etc. The one thing I will show you is on the status screen. So for the instructors, this is your status screen, which is kind of where you wind up when you log in. You got to click on your Students tab. You see the course right here, Math 151 Calculus. There is also a handy dandy little link that says Roster Report. And this will show you a report of all of the students that are on your student list and what step they are on. So are they complete? Are they waiting on a parent? Are they waiting on the college? I'm actually going to log out really quick as Ernie and log back in as Dawn, because Dawn students had a few more statuses, right? Some were on a college step, some were on parent step, and so I think that report will be a little bit more interesting. But yep, status, here's Dawn's courses, here's the roster report, and if I click on that, it says, please wait, while your report is being generated. And it should, depending on how your computer is set up, it'll prompt you to like open or download, either open a file, save the file, download the file, the report that we just generated. It is an Excel file, so I'm going to go ahead and click on open it. And this is what Dawn, the teacher, would see, right? So here are her students. Here's Kathy, and here's our Cass Elliott, right, the one that we were working with. You'll see the student's email. You'll see the course. It's that Global Studies course. You'll see the term, fall. And then this, column O, is what step are they on? So, this student is on college review forms. These are the 3 that Dawn still has to approve. This is Woody. Woody is complete, right? And this is Cass. Cass is waiting for her parents to do something. And you can sort by this if you want. So it's like, show me all the kids that are complete. Show me all the kids that are waiting on parents, because I need to remind them. Talk to your parents about, completing the consent and payment step. So it does give you live data. Again, it pulls live data. So if you run this report at 10 in the morning, you might only have 6 kids on the list. You run it at 12 o'clock noon, and you could have 12 kids on the list because more of them are coming in. So it is live data. It's just your students, right? So Dawn is only seeing her Global Studies kids, but it lets you kind of know. It's a much cleaner and I guess more printable copy than the student page, right? So all of that information is on the students page. I just can't easily print this, right? I could do a screenshot and try to print it, but the data is not as nice as in an Excel sheet. So it is the same information, it's just on the Excel form, and that is available by clicking on the instructor's status page. Here's the course, here's the little link for the report. The other thing is we do send emails to you, and so if we happen to have an email address that is not a good email address, then you can go in, you click on your name, and you can update that email address. You can also change your password, and you do that all by clicking on your name while you're logged in. It's the same thing for students. So if a student was using a Gmail account and they now want to use Yahoo as their way to communicate, have them log in, have them click on their name, and they will be able to change their email. They'll be able to change the cell phone they gave us. They'll be able to change their password. So that is available for all users, the teachers and the students. If they click on their name, they can change some of the contact information for their account. So I'm going to stop here with the instructor piece, and I will unmute everybody and see if there are any questions on that roster report.
No, I'm fine.
All right. So the last kind of piece I'm going to show you is the parents piece. So the parent does have to do consent, and they do have to do payment. And so the parent has gotten an email. You'll see right here, it says parent action, dualenroll.com, parent consent is requested. So again, parents need to check their junk and their spam folder, but they should get an email from us. They will click on that email, and it'll say, or actually this is to the student, dear student, we sent an email to your parents. If this is not the right email for them, log into your registration or log into your account, click on your status page so you can change the email or change the, or resend it. Here's the message that went to the parent. Dear parent or guardian, your child, Cass Elliott, is signing up to take Global Studies through Cascadia, and we require your permission and payment. So click here to do that. So the if I click this little link, the parent is automatically moved to the site and the page that they need. So parents are not going to have logins. They're not going to have a password. They're not going to have a username. All they have to do is get the email and click on the little link, and it will automatically open up in dualenroll.com. They have a help desk button too, and it will say your child Cass is trying to take Global Studies at Cascadia. and then they're going to put their name in here to say, yes, I authorize you to do that. So John Elliott. And then to pay for it, it's the amount of $195. They can enter in a credit card, right? So they would fill out all of these fields for the credit card information, or an e-check. And that's kind of like using your debit card, but you do have to have a check in front of you. We're going to ask for your routing number and your account number, which are at the bottom of a check, but they can do it that way as well. And then it'll show you that what will happen on your credit card statement or your bank statement, it'll say tuition Cascadia C for college, right? So hopefully that will let parents know what that charge was for. It's for the tuition at Cascadia. So that is the parent piece. In case parents are a little confused by what they have to do, they basically have to look for the email, click the link in the email. It will automatically bring them to the correct screen about their student, enter in their name to grant permission, and then fill out the information for payment. Once they fill out the information for payment, there is a screen that's like a receipt, and they can print that so that it's verification that they have paid for the course. So they have given us their authorization for that course. The parents do have to do this for every course. So this is just for Cass's Global Studies class. Once the instructor for her calculus class says, yep, we're good to go, then the parent's going to get another email that says, okay, now your student wants to take calculus. Are you okay with that? So the parent can basically approve or deny each class one at a time, right? They do have to authorize the classes as they come in. So I just wanted to show you what that looks like, since you might get some questions from students or from parents. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to show you what it looks like when you get invited to create your account. So Deanna, I know that last year the system worked really, really well for you, because you were the only teacher at your particular high school that had a class open. But we did delete your account, just like everybody else's. We deleted your counselor account, and you will be asked to create a brand new one. It will be your instructor account. And again, you can use the exact same login information that you used last year, so that way you don't have to remember anything new. So I'm actually going to kind of show you what that process looks like. So already, and the screen is on pause right now, simply because I'm doing some work behind the screen. And I'm actually going to use Deanna as my example. This is our test site, so I'm not creating her real account, I'm creating her test account. But Deanna's name is already in our database because Cascadia tells us all the teachers who are teaching. You know, that's how that information was on the course finder for the students. The students could see the course and the teacher. So we already have Deanna Perry's name. And then I have to go in and click a little link that says, please invite Deanna to make an account. So I have just done this. I'm not showing it to you because the administrator screen is a little scary. It's kind of like the wizard behind the curtain. But I have just gone ahead and went in and found Deanna and clicked on the please invite her to create an account. And I'm going to go back to my test email inbox. So that should be what you're seeing right now, is the test email inbox, because I made Deanna's test account email a dual enroll me email, not her real email. And so you'll see that she got an email. It says invitation instructions. And if I click on that, it says, hello, Deanna Perry. You've been invited to create an account for dualenroll.com. Click here to accept the invitation and create your account. So if I do that, click that little link, it lets her create her own username. So again, if she wants to make her username the same as it was last year, so D Perry, she can make her password whatever she wants, same as last year. And she has created her account. You can see her name is up here. You can see that this is the class she's teaching. And if I click on students, she would see any students. And because I just literally created her account a few minutes ago, she has no test students on our test site. But that's exactly how it would work. So for those of you who have used us before, you will be getting an email from our system inviting you to make your account. So be on the lookout for that email. Click that link that says, I accept the invitation, and then you can enter in a login name and a password that you would like to use. It can be the exact same one you had last year, but you're basically creating a true instructor account instead of the counselor accounts that we were trying to get you to use last year that just weren't a great fit for Cascadia's process and workflow. So I wanted you to kind of see what that will look like. It'll be an email sent to you with a link that allows you to create your own account. So I'm going to pause here again, and I'm going to unmute my folks and see if anybody has any questions.
No questions.
Perfect. So, and D Perry is a great username. So if you'd like to use that, Deanna, you're welcome to, because I did it on the test site, not the live site. So you can still use that username, or whatever username you would like, if it's the same one that you use at school, etc., for your account. So that's kind of the gist of the training session, if you will. We kind of looked at the students part. We looked at the high school instructors part. We explained how it's going to work slightly different for instructors this year. It's going to work better for instructors this year. And we walked through what that creation of your account will look like, because you actually get to create your own instructor account as long as you get that email from us, which I will be sending out shortly. So that was kind of what we wanted to go through. I will also tell you that Eric and I are working on these user guides. I sent them to Eric. He sent them back with a few changes, so I'm going to make those changes. But this is an example of what we'll be emailing. The email will probably come from Eric, but this is a user guide that we have whipped up for your students, right? So it says, first-time students create an account. Here's that website, Cascadia.app.dualenroll.com, so you really don't have to memorize it. And it has screenshots. Click here to create your account, enter in all the information. You've got pre-reg stuff to do, like enter the application, do the terms, give me your parents' contact information. And then the second page talks about the course finder, how do you add a course, etc. So there are 2 pages. They're designed that you could print them front to back, so it would just be a 1-page document you could hand your students while they're in the computer lab as like a step-by-step guide. Or if your students are going to do it on their own time, maybe at home, you can hand this out to them as well. And we also have a user guide for the instructor. So if you forget how to handle your steps, there's also a little 1-page guide here, right? So log in, there's the website again. Click on view by student and change it to view by step if you would like to batch process. This is what batch process looks like versus doing it one at a time, etc. So we have these little 2-page guides that could be printed front to back into a 1-page guide, one for the instructor and one for the student, and those will be emailed to you too as kind of a resource as you're going through that process. The last thing really quick is just to show you what the help desk looks like, just so you're aware. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this help desk button. It doesn't matter if I am a parent or a student or an instructor. They click on the help desk button, and this is where you're sent. It's kind of our help desk platform. Most students, if you start clicking on these boxes, we have like frequently asked questions, like how do I change my parents' email address? How do I change my password, right? And it will show you, we call them articles, right? Articles on how to do that. So if you're pretty self-sufficient, a student might be able to look at the articles and figure out what to do. But if you don't have time to look at articles and I just want some help from a real human being, all you have to do is click on this submit a request link up at the top. I hate how tiny that is. I wish I could make it bigger and like neon and flashing. But unfortunately, that is its size. But if you click on this submit a request, you basically get a form where you're going to tell us what the problem is, and it will make a ticket. Again, anything with a red asterisk is required, so we really only require 3 things. Your email address, so we can communicate with you and tell you when the problem is fixed. And then this is kind of like a short snapshot of what the problem is, locked out of my account. And then this is a description. I'm a new student. I tried to create my account. It won't let me confirm it. Please help, right? So you can write a little bit more in the box than you can on this line. And that's really the minimum. Like, we at least need those 3 things. Outside of those 3 things, it's all extras, right? So if you want to give us your name, if you want to give us your teacher's name or your high school or the college, Cascadia College, or you can even attach a file. So if you want to take a screenshot of a really wonky screen that you're seeing and I don't know what I did wrong, you can do that too. So you can certainly give us more information, but at a minimum, we need to know, how do I get a hold of you? So your email address, and what's the problem? And as long as you enter in those 3 things and then just click submit, a help desk ticket is going to be issued. And we're able to work on that and communicate with you from the help desk. Again, it'll come from an email address that says support@dualenroll.com. So check those junk or those spam folders. But that's how a help desk ticket is going to be initiated. And again, that red help desk button is there for students, for parents, for instructors. It's even there for Eric and Sean over at Cascadia at the college. So everybody can use the help desk. If you have questions, most of you have my name and my phone number from last year. I'm sure you have Eric or Sean's name and number over at Cascadia. We are definitely here to help you. I don't want to make you feel like you can't reach out to me directly, like you have to enter in a ticket. But the only thing is when you enter a ticket, there are 5 people who work on help desk tickets, and there's only one Raquel. So if you email me, I just ask that you give me a little bit of time to get back to you, as there are usually a lot of emails in my inbox. But please, our job is to make sure that this goes as smoothly as possible for you and your students and your parents. So if there's ever something that we can help with, or a suggestion or feedback that you have as to how we can make the system better, we're always looking for ways to do that. We encourage you to reach out to us, either through the help desk or emailing me directly. And that's kind of my deal for the night and for the training session. We've looked at the student initiating it and how they go ahead, create their account, confirm their account, and select their courses. We've looked at what the instructor does, logging in and approving those courses. We saw a glimpse of what the parent will see, accessing it through their email and entering in their permission and their payment. We looked at how to enter a help desk ticket as well. And then we also did show you what to expect to create your brand new instructor accounts. We have deleted all the accounts from last year, and so you will be getting an email from the system asking you to make your brand new instructor account. That's just going to work so much better than last year for those of you who were at schools that had multiple classes and multiple teachers going out at the same time. So I'm going to stop here. Eric, did I miss anything? Is there anything that you would like to reiterate? Deanna, do you have any questions before we kind of close it out?
No, I don't have any questions. I'm good.
Perfect. So no questions from Deanna. Eric, what was that?
You did great. You covered everything. Hopefully we'll get the final instructions for the instructors and the students to register by the end of this week, and registration opens on Monday the 2nd.
Yep, so next week, Monday, is the day that the site will go live. So right now, if a student logged on to the Cascadia site and they clicked on courses, they won't see any courses because registration is not open. The registration will be open, as Eric said, next week, Monday, October 2nd. That is when there will actually be courses listed on that courses tab. And what is the deadline or the close date for that, Eric?
I believe we set it for Friday, October 13th.
I think you're right. So they'll have 2 weeks, essentially, to go ahead and get in there and get those registrations processed or started, initiated. So, yep, so be on the lookout for emails from the dualenroll.com system asking you or inviting you to create your brand new instructor account. And again, you can use the same username and password as you did last year. And be on the lookout for most likely an email from Eric that has those user guides on there. So it'll have that student user guide and that instructor user guide. So that way you've got kind of a resource in case you need to refresh your memory. And then certainly Eric will also have this video at his disposal in case you need to view it or look at it again at a later date. But at this point, I will stop recording the session. I'm going to say thank you very much.